All right, let's get right into a mental model that can totally flip how you think about goals and, well, getting things done. We're talking about the 10x rule. It's a really powerful and, let's be honest, kind of brutally honest way to get results that you might think are completely out of reach. But let's start with a question. And I'm pretty sure we've all asked ourselves this at some point. You're working hard, you're putting in the hours, but the results, they're just not showing up. It's so frustrating. So, why does that happen? Well, the answer might be a lot simpler than you think. Think about the last time you decided to get in shape. Your expectation is, yeah, I'm going to hit the gym and I'll see visible results in like 2 weeks. But what's the reality? It's pain, it's frustration, and by day 14, you're so discouraged that quitting feels like the only option. See, the problem wasn't the gym. The problem was that our expectation was a total fantasy. And that right there is the core issue we're talking about. And that brings us to our first big idea here. What we call failure is often just the math of disappointment. It has nothing to do with what you're capable of. It's all about how you did the initial calculation. You know how it is. When we set a goal, our brain just naturally maps it out as this nice, straight, easy road. We plan for the absolute best case scenario, assuming it's a simple, clear path from point A to point B. But life is never a straight road, is it? It's a steep, rocky, unpredictable mountain trail. There's going to be bad weather, there are going to be loose rocks, you're going to take wrong turns. We basically pack for a nice little stroll in the park when we really need to be prepared to climb a mountain. And this happens because of a little quirk in our brains called the underestimation bias. I mean, just think about putting together furniture from a box. You think, oh, this will take an hour, tops. And then 3 hours later, you're surrounded by confusing instructions and a missing screw. We are wired to underestimate everything. The time it'll take, the effort it'll require, the resistance we'll hit, and all those random problems that just seem to pop out of nowhere. So, here's the absolute key takeaway. That feeling of disappointment, the one that makes us want to quit, it's not failure. Not at all. It's just the result of bad math. It's like we brought enough gas for a 10-mile trip, but the journey was actually 100 miles long. We didn't fail at driving, we failed at estimating. So if the problem is that our estimations are all wrong, what's the solution? Well, this is where the 10x rule comes storming in. It's the perfect antidote to our natural tendency to underestimate everything. Let's just break down exactly what it is. The 10x rule has two parts, and they are totally inseparable. First, you've got to set targets that are 10 times bigger than what you currently believe you can achieve. And second, this is the part you absolutely cannot skip. You have to take 10 times the amount of action you originally thought you'd need. It's this massive change in scale, thinking 10x, that gives you the fuel and the buffer you need to handle that steep, unpredictable mountain trail we talked about. You're basically operating at a level where a little bit of bad luck or an unexpected obstacle just doesn't matter anymore. And you can see how this creates a huge shift in thinking. Normal thinking is kind of passive, right? I'd like a promotion in a couple of years. But 10x thinking? It's active, it's aggressive, it's I'm going to become so valuable, so completely indispensable to this company that promoting me is the only logical thing they can do. The size of your goal literally changes who you are and what you do every day. Now, this right here is probably the single most important mindset shift in the whole thing. When the going gets tough, our first instinct is to lower the goal. Maybe I can't do it. But the 10x rule says, nope, the target is fixed, it's non-negotiable. The only thing you're allowed to change is the amount of action you're taking. You just ramp it up. Okay, so let's take this a step further, because 10x isn't just about working harder, it's about completely changing the game you're playing. It's about deciding to dominate your space, not just compete in it. Think about it. Competition is this crowded little sandbox where everyone's fighting to be just a tiny bit better than the person next to them. It's exhausting. But domination, which is fueled by 10x action, is about creating a whole new playing field. You become so active, so visible, you're creating so much value that people stop comparing you to anyone else. You're in a league of your own. And this is just a fantastic way to put it. Instead of fighting with everyone else for the existing slices of pie, your massive level of action creates new opportunities, new markets. You build a whole new, bigger bakery. It's what companies like Netflix did. They didn't just try to be a better blockbuster, they created a whole new industry that made the old one irrelevant. That's domination. No, I know what you might be thinking. This level of action sounds exhausting, like a one-time all-out sprint. But that's a big misunderstanding. The 10x philosophy sees success as a continuous thing, not some final destination you arrive at. This metaphor is just perfect. That last breath you took, super important, obviously. But it's not going to keep you alive for the next 5 minutes. What matters is the next one, and the one after that. Success is the exact same. Your last win was great, but you have to keep taking the next breath, creating the next success, just to stay in the game. And here's another great way to think about it. Yesterday's fire was awesome, but those embers aren't going to keep you warm tonight. Success expires. It's not owned, it's rented, and guess what? The rent is due every single day. The second you stop adding wood to that fire, it starts to go out. So, we really have to redefine what success means. It's not a trophy you stick on a shelf and admire. It's a living, breathing thing that needs constant attention. It has to continue, it has to grow. And honestly, in today's world, it's not a luxury. It's about survival. That constant maintenance, it's not optional. It's the whole point. Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, but how do we actually put this into practice? Let's break down a simple challenge to get you started on your first 10x week. This is a really simple way to start rewiring your brain. First, write down your number one goal. Now, multiply it by 10. Next, list all the actions you think you need to take and multiply those by 10. I know it's going to feel completely absurd, but that's the point. It's meant to shatter your underestimation bias. Then, step 3, just for today, take one action that feels unreasonable. And finally, this is so important, if you get stuck, your new go-to move isn't to stop and think. It's to immediately take more action. Action is the cure for everything. And let's be really, really clear on what 10x is not. This isn't about burning yourself out. It's about smart, sustained, massive action. It's not reckless. It's aggressive, for sure, but it's calculated. And most importantly, it's not just thinking big while sitting on the couch. The action part is everything. And we'll leave it with this final thought, because it really sums it all up. Most of us go through life planning for an easy trip. We pack for comfort. But life, more often than not, is a storm. The 10x rule is simply a philosophy of being prepared. It's about packing for the storm you know is probably coming, so that when it hits, you don't just survive, you actually thrive in it. So the real question is, what are you packing for?